everyone, welcome back to Google Workspace Recap, where we review everything new to Workspace every week. My name is Jesse Nolan, my co-host is Steve Larson, and we're here to help you keep up. I'm coming to you this week from high up in the San Diego mountains via Starlink, so my connection and video quality isn't quite as good as usual. Also, I'll be uploading a standard quality video to YouTube instead of our usual 4K. I apologize because if I were to upload the full size quality, not only would I use up all of the allotted data on Starlink, it would also take probably more than a week to upload. So back next week with the full setup. In other news, Google Next is completely sold out. 15,000 tickets booked, and hotel rooms are hard to come by. So if you have not finished your reservations, like somebody I know, you better get on it.
Me? Yeah.
Maybe. Somebody I know.
All my pages for hotel reservations reloaded, and like, we have no rooms for these days. We have no rooms for these days at like 4 different hotels. Luckily, there's still one left with a bunch of rooms, but got $100 more a night increased. So,
Steve is going to be pitching a tent outside of Moscone.
Yeah,
given San Francisco rates, it'll probably still be $400 a night.
Exactly.
Other breaking news, this literally is hours old, major development in the Google Domains saga. An email was finally sent out around the last day or so for Google Domains customers, and as well as a few hours ago, specifically for Cloud Domain customers. It seems that the fine folks at Google, who were kind of surprised by the original announcements, have done some insanely amazing work behind the scenes, and as you will see in the email, both Google Domains and Cloud Domains, it appears, will continue to be managed through the current interface. Squarespace will still be the registrar. That is happening pending regulatory approval. And I know that many of you are rejoicing a bit now. I just hope that it is as good as it sounds.
Yeah. Welcome news there. I was glad to see that.
Absolutely. And it's welcome to see any news, as we were saying last week in the first place, just because there has been little to no communication about that and what was going to be. And it seems that the folks who are on those teams managed to find a way to get the best of both worlds, where this deal is still going through, and I don't know if this was the plan all along. I feel like they would have communicated that if it was, but I think that there was just some really excellent work done behind the scenes to salvage this and keep a lot of us happy and have the deal still go through. It's kind of the impression that I'm getting from it.
Yeah. Definitely like seeing the same interface remaining, which is good.
Very exciting. All right, we've got about 11 million updates to do.
Oh, is that all?
Is that all?
It's only a couple. Only a few. We have 10 updates from the weekly announcements, and then we have 4 from the recap post. So that gives you a total of 14 for those of you that are a little unsure what 10 plus 4 is. And then a little update here on Google Drive. Some announcements there around deprecation of support for Windows 8 and Server 2012 and this and that. And then there is an update coming to the next release of Chrome version 1.16. We will leave the details out of this episode and talk about those probably next week, hoping for slightly fewer updates in this week, essentially, to include those. So we'll kind of keep you updated on those next week. So, looking at what we have here on our kind of topics for the week. So this is going to be a whole little segment in itself. Adding bulk conversation for place chips in Google Sheets as one of the first ones that we saw in the recap post there. Next, we have the ability to easily set up drop-down chips in Google Sheets with a new pre-fill feature. The reorganization, or you can now reorganize the file and folder menu in Google Drive. It's more about the reorganization of the file menu and folder menu in Google Drive, something that we actually talked to you about a few episodes ago, but Google finally got around to talking about it in this week's recap post, and then an updated timeline for upgrading to the inline threaded experience in Google Chat. So be interested to see what it says there. As you know, I love the way threading works right now, as it is. Don't change it. It wasn't broken. Anyways. Then starting off the first releases that we saw during the week, you can now simplify lesson planning with shareable class templates and classwork with the new Google Classroom beta announcement. There's some updates for exporting your organization's data. You have you can now review suggested hints, add your own resources, and more for practice sets in Google Classroom. Going off a little tangent here, though, but just because of the word resources, I did see something recently today over in Mac Admins around sharing room resources cross domains, and something that I didn't think was actually technically possible up until someone mentioned that they've enabled that. So they have, a resource in one domain, they've shared it with the organization in the other, and it's what it sounds like. I haven't confirmed this myself. I haven't tested this myself, which is something I probably should have done. But according to this person, they said that they were able to allow people in the outside domain to actually book a room resource within theirs by adding the email address of that really long email address of the room resource.
Interesting.
The last time that I tried that, it appeared to work on the sender side. But when you actually looked at the destination side, where the room resource actually was, it never got booked and allocated. I responded in the community there and said, "Hey, are you sure that this actually works?" And he's like, "Yeah, if you do this and this," and didn't really follow up on it. But apparently, someone says that is possible. Yeah, so
sounds like a good YouTube video there.
Yeah, it's more of a. I think it's good for situations where you're doing, let's say, an M&A, and you're looking at how can we interop ahead of the actual migration of the of things, right? And that can add to the list of things that you can maybe potentially do if in fact that does work. All right, but looking at our fourth update here that we have from the week, next is that the Google is expanding branding and customization capabilities in Google Slides and Google Forms. You can now add Gmail translation to mobile devices. Google Keep integration with Assistant is now available to all Google Workspace users.
Yeah.
Number 7, yeah. Number 7 here, something that we actually again talked about before the announcement, was the introduction of e-signatures for Google Docs and Drive. So that is launching in an open beta for Workspace individual subscribers, and then launching also in beta for Google Workspace customers. So that one is finally making its way out. And then next we have Gallery View for Zoom interoperability on Google Meet hardware is going to be available now. And then you can start to add annotations to your presentations in Google Slides. And finally, you can set context-aware access policies for first and third-party applications to access Workspace APIs. And I think we did talk about this before, didn't we? I thought this was on last week's episode.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Let me see here. We should have looked at this one at a time. But anyways, we'll talk about it again. It came out.
It's there. It's in the post.
Yeah, exactly. It is in the post. But yeah, I thought we had talked about this in a previous episode. It doesn't look like it was the last one, but I swore we talked about this. Anyways, moving on to our news. Like I said, Drive for Desktop as an update, version 79 is out. Chrome 116 we will talk about in the next episode. And then in other news, let's actually start with something that isn't on our list of other news things, because it's I think we forgot to add it here. But
it's top secret.
For those of you, it is top secret. Yes, it is top secret. But for those of you that do have access, the Q3 Workspace roadmap has been released. There was a live presentation of that also the other day, and if you don't have access to that, it's all in the Cloud Connect community. You have to go over there, grab it. There's a kind of private NDA section where you can gain access to the it's actually three pieces of information. So you have a Google Doc, you have a Google Sheet, and you have a Google Slide, all are around the roadmap topics. And then also in the live presentation that they had, there was an additional item that was not part of any of that documentation. So it's always good to attend those events when they are occurring, because you never know what little tidbits of information you're going to get that isn't published in docs. And that kind of extra little feature that is coming out is going to be, somewhat based around meetings and sound and audio, and think about that, and really cool features around what you can do in a meeting room with a bunch of people in a meeting. So
magic
for that coming soon. Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, it solves some pretty huge issues that people have in meeting rooms when you've got multiple people there. It's pretty cool what they're going to be able to do with that, and look forward to seeing that once it comes out. I don't know. I just didn't really say what it was, but alluded to something. Oh shoot! I clicked the little. There we go. Sorry.
Whoops.
These collapse heading things are kind of nice, but when you just
oh, that's what you did.
You click on them and like, wait, which thing did I actually hide here? Where'd it go? Yeah. All right, so that is our other news that wasn't on our list of other news.
One item. Yeah.
Right. One. And four more. We have four more here. So next, we have an article from Chrome Unboxed talking about Google. It will take a year to decouple Chrome browser from Chrome OS. That is something that we've seen in the news about kind of separating those two, so you can, let's say, continue to get updates for the Chrome browser while Chrome OS, let's say, maybe doesn't get any more updates because of whatever it's the device is no longer part of the auto update program. Next, we have an article here from Google's Workspace blog, and talking about data privacy. So how we're protecting your Google Workspace data in the era of generative AI. And next we have the Hacker News article talking about enhancing TLS security on Google. Google is adding quantum-resistant encryption in Chrome 1.16. So
I don't know how that's possible, but sure.
Well, yeah. I mean, as we said, we'll talk about some of the Chrome 1.16 updates in more depth next week. But this one here made it into the news feed, so we'll talk about that one feature here. And then another article from Google, and it's tips on how to learn the new way to cloud at Google Next. So, Jesse will talk a little bit about that, and more on Next, as you've been hearing from us, if you've been listening in the last few weeks. We will be out in San Francisco not next week, but the following week, so in 2 weeks, essentially. Yep. Pretty much 2 weeks from yesterday, right? So 2 weeks from Monday. We're both going out there Monday, I think, right? That week?
Yeah, I'll be landing late Monday night, though.
Yeah, I'll be landing midday, and Jess and I will be meeting for the first time. We've never spoke in person to each other.
Never. I have no idea how tall Steve is.
I'm not that tall. You tried to order me an extra large for a shirt. I'm like, I'm like kind of like in between a medium and large, so I'm not that big.
I'm gonna tower over you or something.
I think so. Yeah, that's definitely the case.
That's funny.
Yeah. So we will see each other for the first time. We're working on speaking to. We're already we're speaking to a bunch of Googlers now to try to meet up with them and. Hopefully do some interviews with those of you out there. As we said, reach out to us. Let us know if you're coming. We know a few of you that are going to be out there. But if we haven't heard from you yet, or if you haven't reached out before, before now, this is kind of the perfect opportunity to reach out to us and meet us while we're out there.
Yeah,
we will hopefully make ourselves as visible as possible with our shirts and everything, and whatever other recording equipment we will have on our backs and strapped to us and out there. So we'll be around all days and nights as well.
Maybe not quite as visible as the person who strapped a 3D printer to their back. over at the Linus Tech Group conference, LTTX. That they
Oh,
just
wait,
had.
he's got a conference now?
He does, yeah. Apparently, it was amazing.
Jeez.
I saw some of the recap videos
Wow.
of it that were done. There was a bunch of YouTubers
Is
who were
it
there that I
is it
follow.
basically just a conference on how to lose server data over and over again every year and
No,
I
it
don't
was
know,
it was just a
like
huge
get
nerd
hacked
fest.
every week, every year? I don't know.
Ouch, ouch.
So much stuff happens with him. I don't know.
Well, yeah, he likes to do the extreme.
Yeah.
No, the show actually seemed like a really epic, like nerd fest for anyone
Oh,
who's a computer
oh yeah.
geek, super nerd type.
I know. I mean, I
And
was watching him before he went off into his own thing when he was working, for the MSP or whatever in Canada, whatever he was doing, and
yeah, yeah, I
kind of
watched
starting it.
him.
That's what I.
Jeez, he was the first YouTuber I ever watched. I think. I mean, how many years ago was that? A decade more?
Oh, you mean like on
It was
within tech,
definitely more than a
within tech
decade.
and stuff? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
he's one of the OG. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's been around for a long time.
yep.
Crazy.
Yeah. We will not be
All right.
strapping a 3D printer to our backs, but we might have some recording equipment.
No, I did. You know what? Speaking of other kind of conferences, things like that, I was seeing a video talking about what's the next big? Is it DEF CON coming up in Vegas?
I think that's
And
now. I think it's currently happening.
is it right now? Yeah, it's probably this week. So they're trying to hack the Sphere out there in
Oh my
Vegas.
god.
Have you heard about that?
That's going to be fun. I didn't hear about. I know all about the Sphere. I've been following its construction because,
Yeah.
as you may know, I used to go to Vegas a lot. And, one of my main clients has a lot of property out there, so I'm definitely familiar with the Sphere and the surrounding area and what it's been doing. I haven't seen it
I don't
yet
even,
in
I didn't even
person,
see it
but I am
when I was
looking
out
forward
there.
to it.
I mean,
It was
I was
dark. It
pretty
wasn't.
much-
You wouldn't notice it until now when it's all lit up. There's so many other lights
Yeah.
on the strip. You would have missed it
Yeah, I
completely.
mean, I was also inside the MGM Grand pretty much the entire time I was there.
Oh yeah, then definitely you wouldn't have seen it.
Yeah.
But that would be pretty cool, pretty interesting.
Pretty
See if they can hack it.
Yeah, because apparently, it's not online, it's not connected. You're going to have to get physical access to the equipment, and
Good luck.
someone's going to have to, basically create a backdoor, let them in the back door essentially.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's get going.
So, yeah, I know. So if we don't have enough stuff to talk about already, huh? Just keep adding more
Right.
and more things to it. All right. Well, let's talk about the first update that we saw here in the recap. Being able to add adding bulk conversation for place chips in Google Sheets. So starting this week, which is last week, users can now convert links to place chips in bulk from the insert menu or cell menu. I think, didn't we talk about this again? Something else we talked about? Or I'm pretty sure that we saw, the first one when we talked about the names being populated or something, and
Yeah,
it just says, do you want all of them to be
It's similar.
populated? So yeah, a little time-saving update here for when you're formatting a whole bunch of information. And this is going to be rolling out right now to rapid release and scheduled release domains on an extended pace, potentially longer than 15 days for visibility. But I was already seeing that at least last week or the week before. So it looks like it's getting out there quicker than most updates I've seen.
Mhm.
Next, we have, and again, a nice little good-sized animation here as well for you, Jesse.
Love it.
Enjoy that. Yeah.
Always a fan.
Next, easily set up drop-down chips in Google Sheets with a new pre-fill feature. So this is just going to make it a little bit faster here to, when you select a range of cells, then insert a drop-down chip, the manually entered cell data will convert to pre-filled drop-down values. So making it a little faster to, get those in there, which is cool. So I always have, not always have, but I often have a tab on some of my sheets called data validation, right? And it's all of these drop downs essentially that are over on another sheet, another tab, to then allow me to have those on my other tabs throughout the whole document.
I do the same.
Yeah. So once I have this now, so once I have my data validation tab where I have all these different responses that I can do, now it's really easy. It's like, drag and drop that and then copy and paste the data validation format, over into the other tab, which makes it a lot faster. Or even avoid having to do that now. But I don't know. It's good to have it on that one reference tab, because that way, whenever you update it there, and if you have that on multiple tabs, then it's always updating based upon your data validation tab. Whereas if you're doing the same data validation on multiple tabs through this functionality here, you would have to update it like 3 or 4 times if you had 3 or 4 tabs that were using it the same format, right? So see how that kind of plays out with all that. But I think it should, definitely make things a little bit quicker and easier to kind of include these drop downs, which is cool. Next, the reorganizing the file and folder menu in Google Drive. So as we had mentioned the other week, the right-clicking a file or folder in Drive, you're going to see a new menu format, much more consolidated. On some of my laptop screens, it was like taking up the entire screen. It was just so many options on there. So I was, and sometimes when you were, if you selected a file down at the bottom of the page and tried to open up that menu, like it wouldn't show everything, and it was just not great, not a great experience in some of the way it was, showing you that menu. So this consolidates a bunch of those into submenus. So you'll have, open with having a few different options. You'll have share, organize, labels, file info, and then report block. Those are all kind of menu options that have submenus to them. So you'll be able to, still have access to all those different things that you had, but in, effectively a little bit longer click to get to them, but allowing for you to have, more access to things in that smaller menu, in smaller condensed screen real estate and things like that. So just takes a little getting used to, I guess, of where those are at.
Yeah, and it's a natural progression. They were doing this in some of the other apps as well, so it tracks.
Yeah. And then next, we have a little update here to the timeline for the upgrade to inline threading experience in Google Chat. So the update on this is the upgrade will start in September of 2023, and it's expected to be completed by the end of Q1 2024. So I really, we've been saying this, I really hope this is like a Google Sites, continuous delayed announcements, because I would really appreciate that. I would really like that. Let it last a couple of years.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to be so lucky this time.
Maybe not, but one can hope, I guess. One can hope.
Yeah, I think this really needs to
2024.
I think this really needs to happen for them to continue moving forward with the design of the platform. I don't think they're going to stumble on this one.
I don't know. Okay, this is what happened the other day. I really don't like. I really don't like the inline threading and the response and the responding to threads thing, because what happened the other day is I had, I turned conversation history off, right?
Right.
And what happens with that is, it disappears in 24 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what was able to happen, though, is the user, within the 24-hour period, we had conversation history turned off, said what we needed to say with it off, turned conversation history back on, and then the other person decided to respond to the offline chat in the online chat, and now that offline conversation is now online.
Mm.
That's not what I wanted to happen. I didn't want that previously offline conversation to be pulled into now an online conversation.
To clarify, when you say offline online, you mean off the record?
Oh, off the record history.
Record.
Yes, sorry. So yeah, I'm saying yes. History on, history off. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking online.
So
offline.
When the person responded to the what was off the record or with no history enabled, did that show up in the chat as they were quoting it, or it was just a continue, like they referenced it, but you don't know what it was.
No, the whole thing was there. The whole text from the off the history chat was there.
Interesting. That defeats the purpose.
What's that? Yeah. Right. You shouldn't be able to reply to an off the record chat on the record later on.
Yeah, I feel like there needs to be some kind of a gate that should block that. You know, if this conversation was done, then don't allow it to don't allow quoting.
And it's still there. I'm like looking at it. So it was Sunday when this was made, and I can still see, all the text that was meant to be off the record in that response.
Interesting.
Which is now on the record.
Well, they have another 2 weeks to resolve that. I mean, it's not going to complete until the end of the year, or the beginning of next year, rather.
Yeah.
But actually, the end of Q1 24. That's already 3 months into next year.
Yeah,
that's a long rollout.
You should not be able to quote off the record chats.
I'm sure there'll be an update soon enough with that in it.
Yep. But I don't know. I probably need to report that. I probably don't think that that's an issue, but it definitely is to me.
Right.
Most people it would be. I mean, right. I mean, you'd expect that to never be able to be pulled into an on the record, like
100%.
History on kind of situation. Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
Yeah.
Off the record,
if that message is supposed to be deleted, or if it's supposed to be deleted, like it should then disappear as part of that, the quote.
Right.
It didn't.
When that happens.
Still here. Right.
Interesting.
So that's a message that was sent that's supposed to be removed within 24 hours. Well, sure, you might want to reference it on the record and have that. I don't know. Whatever. It should be gone though. It should be gone.
Definitely.
Yep. All right. So we talked about the timeline change on that. So a little bit more tidbit about this is ahead of that upgrade. Workspace admins, partners, resellers will receive an email with more info about what to expect before any changes are made to their experience. And there's also a link to the previous announcement to, I guess, stay updated on that. But I would say that they're going to, make multiple announcements rather than just silently update that previous May 31st blog post. All right. Next, finally getting into the updates, the main updates that we saw during the week. First one is the simplification of lesson planning with shareable class templates and classwork with a new Google Classroom beta. So right in time for the start of the new school year. I know my kids are going back next week. I don't know about the rest of you, but
yep, mine too.
That is definitely a welcome time of the year. These summers are always like, what are we going to do every single day with the kids around?
Yeah, it's chaos.
So it's like, all right, now 9 to 5, they're in school, or 8 to 3, whatever it is. But so with this experience change, classroom with the classroom beta here, there's some simplified lesson planning and the ability to make some classroom materials a little bit more accessible. There is a whole section where curriculum leads and verified teachers can share links to high-quality classes and class templates so that educators in the organization can preview and import classwork to an existing class or to a new class. So a lot of cool stuff here for classroom and education space. So the beta here to sign up for, this is interesting because, do you remember when Classroom was being rolled out very very slowly to Workspace users? Forever, yes. Years. It took years. When I had access to it for probably 2 years prior to it being released to Workspace users.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this should have been released a long time ago. I thought it was really useful functionality for businesses to have in some of the use cases that I was applying it to in organizations I was at the time.
Trainings.
Yeah, exactly. Learning LMS, trainings, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, exactly. Really good way to kind of keep track of all that stuff. We had call centers that needed to go through training and material, and this was perfect for them. So those kind of orgs that I was at, it was a really useful feature that we had access to long ahead of anyone else. So yeah, a new beta coming out for Classroom, and it's going to be globally available for Workspace Education Plus customers in English, Spanish, Portuguese, and Japanese. And Google Workspace admins can start to use a sign-up form here to apply for the beta from now until the 1st of September. So you have a few more weeks to sign up for that. Now it says, Education Plus customers. So this really is focused first for education users. It doesn't look like this is going to be for, Workspace customers that have access to Classroom, which of course is everyone. But if you are in the education space, sign up to that test application form for the new Classroom. With this is shareable class templates and classwork there. So I think it sounded a little bit more like a bigger revamp of Google Classroom, but it's really some specific functionality here for sharing class templates and classwork.
Yep.
But still, makes it a little bit easier to use the Classroom in general. All right. Looking at kind of rollout, I think rollout really is the beta. Sign up for that by the end of the month. And as I said, Education Plus customers only. This will be available for. So sign up accordingly. All right. Next, some updates to the exporting of your organization's data. So some new updates here around exporting data for your for the Workspace customers. And you can now choose to export data for a specific user rather than rather than a full set of user-generated content. That's one main update that you will see here. So being able to select a specific user. Next, you'll also notice some improvements on the user interface for the data export tool. So we'll provide some more information about exports, records, and a longer history of exports, and offers a little bit more features here, with the kind of some filter takeout, as it says. And let's see, finally, Workspace Enterprise Plus, Education Standard, Education Plus, and the Teaching and Learning Upgrade customers will now have some additional options for exporting data. If you are using one of those editions, you'll be able to export the content for a set of individual users. Give an example here. You can start to choose to export all data for several specific users rather than all data for the entire domain. So that option expands on the extend enhanced data export option that was released last year, which is the export user-generated content by organizational unit and the export of user-generated content by group. So kind of, going more granular here down to the user. Rollout for this one is going to be starting 7th of August, so pretty much done already, given that this was a full rollout with 1 to 3 days for feature visibility for both rapid release and scheduled release domains. So that is out already to everyone that is eligible for it. And it is Business Starter, Business Standard, Business Plus, Enterprise Starter, Enterprise Essentials, Enterprise Standard, Plus, Education Standard, Education Plus, and the Teaching and Learning Upgrade, along with Assured Control customers. First time we've seen that listed in the availability list SKUs here.
Indeed.
So, yeah. All right. Barely even halfway through all this.
Yeah, and I'm apologizing to everybody on the video side. Excuse me, fidgeting over here. I'm sitting in a very basic, cheap computer chair, and it's a very uncomfortable seat. So I keep sliding back and sliding around and sliding down. And I'm just trying not to be so fidgety over here.
I know, right? I'm just moving around because I've been sitting here for so long. I mean, it's been 2 hours really since we started our scheduled recording. Yeah, it's midnight right now. We started, so my local time, we start at 10. Kind of our scheduled time to kind of get things started, and we're 2 hours in. Yeah.
I just found a sign here that says danger hard hat area. That's what I made Steve laugh with. For those on the podcast side. Yeah, 2 hours in. Let's keep going. It's not a 2-hour show, obviously, but yeah.
No, but for us, we've been doing this for 2 hours already. Right, so next, reviewing suggested hints, edge-run resources, and more for practice sets in Google Classroom. Some previous announcements here on practice sets being GA. This, currently in practice sets right now, when teachers select a skill for a problem, resources are activated for the students. So to improve upon that experience, Google is now going to an update here. That's an update here that it gives teachers more control over the resources for students in practice sets. Specifically, teachers will now be able to do 4 more things here. You'll be able to more easily review the resources before they assign to their students. Be able to add built-in support for their students by removing or adding their own resources. You'll be able to include text-based hints and YouTube videos that are tailored to their students' needs, and as well as control the order in which resources are provided to their students, which means what appears first, second, or third, for example. A bunch of information here around why it matters here and how to get started. But rollout pace for this one is again started the 7th of August, and also on a full rollout with 1 to 3 days for visibility for both those wrap release and good release domains. So everyone on the Education Plus and Education Teaching and Learning Upgrade tiers will have access to this one. So just those two. All right. Next, we have some expanding branding and customization capabilities in Google Slides and Forms. So this is a great new feature here for being able to pull pre-designed branded templates and themes into Google Slides and Forms. So this is really be able to add a domain template with slides as well as forms. A really long-awaited feature that before what you had to do is you'd probably have to I did this. You'd push out a bookmark that was a presentation, and it had like this slash copy in there, or same thing with forms. But this makes it a little bit easier now to be able to do this more through the standard templateization functionality.
Yeah, we did a custom template.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yep.
This is nicer, I suppose.
So a domain theme, including fonts, branded colors, header image, you can use when creating a new form or editing existing form in Forms.
That's cool.
An existing form in Forms. Yeah, exactly. So it's really, they've named it really well. Yes, create a form in Forms.
Yep.
Very good name. Yes.
What else would you do in Forms?
Right. I don't know. Yeah. So this feature is going to be off by default.
Not very often that we see that.
No, not for something like this. But it can be, of course, enabled. Head over to Apps, Workspace, Settings for Drive and Docs, and then Templates, and then Default Themes and Templates. And then you'll have Forms default theme or Slides library template, and be able to turn that on or off. Yeah, it's right. This is something that I would expect to be on by default, but
right,
it's off. It's off by default. I don't know why. Like, there's so many. I don't know. Why would this be off by default? But it is. It is. This one also started. Oh, God, what's that?
I said beats me. I don't know.
No, I don't know either. This one also started the 7th of August on a rollout, but this one is a little bit longer. This is on a gradual rollout, up to 15 days for visibility. Also for both scheduled release and wrap release domains. This is only going to be available, though, to those on Business Plus, Enterprise Standard, Education Plus, and Enterprise Plus. All right. Next, let's see what do we have here. We're talking about translations. Oh, Sorry, I'm adding in more extra stuff to all this. But guess what movie I watched last night with the kids? One of my... Think about all the favorite updates that I see Google make.
The Emoji Movie.
Might have... Yes, exactly. So I watched the Emoji Movie last night, and I was like, oh my God, how much I love emojis.
What did I do with translating?
Last year. I don't know. I was just looking at it, and I just came to mind. I don't know. Just thinking emojis and I don't know, translation.
I never saw it.
Mobile devices. Well, because most of it was really on the mobile devices. So it was, that the movie was centered around, the kid that was on his phone, and it was like an insight into his mobile phone, on there. That's kind of what made me think of it. And also that I wanted to talk about it on the episode. And I don't know, this was the moment that I remembered it.
There you go. I never saw it, but I did want to see it simply because Patrick Stewart plays a poop emoji.
Yeah, the poop emoji. Yeah.
For that, I would see it. It hasn't come up.
It was good. Yeah, it was a good movie. It was fun. Right. So, kind of as this headline says, being able to add a Gmail translation to mobile devices. Something that, I don't really know why this is taking so long to get there. You've had to, I know on Android anyways, you'd have to select the text and then move it into the Translate app, separately, which was possible, but it was just a little weird and cumbersome and wasn't really as expected. So now that option to translate the text is going to be right there at the top of the message. And, if you have those messages coming in from people that are not speaking your language, but is one of the languages that Google will support the translation of, you will be able to toggle between the translation and the original as you wish. So a dismissible banner will start to appear at the top, and you'll be able to kind of do a bunch of stuff with that and translate, turn it off, disable it. That is all kind of user-facing features there.
Now, if only they could continue making the Gmail app actually useful again, I'd be very happy.
Well, it's very useful on Android, so maybe just buy an Android phone.
You mean this one? I've been playing with it. I will admit, I don't actually go into Gmail all that often, but it's still very similar. That's what made the Gmail app, such a big thing for them for years. Is the fact that they were trying to get feature parity, or even more than feature parity. They were trying to get them both looking the same, and that crippled them in a way because I don't know. Yeah. I feel like it could be doing so much more. Wow, the power keeps dimming here, and it's giving me a massive headache. And I keep glancing around, am I about to lose power? I mean, I'm running up battery power. We're running up battery power. That's why. Yeah, the network is running on has 3 hours of battery power, and the Starlink has probably about an hour of battery power. So I'm fine, even if we do lose power in here. It might just get dark all of a sudden. But that's why I keep looking around.
All right. They were talking to someone, or someone was passing, walking by.
There was somebody who came to the door before, and I was like, I'm on the phone.
Like a big red light and a recording sign.
Yeah, if this were my studio at home, maybe.
Yeah. All right, rollout on this one. Android users start 8th of August. Gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility for both rapid and scheduled. iOS users, this is going to start a little bit later. 21st of August, a couple days from now, as we speak. Also, a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility for both rapid and scheduled release domains. It's going to be all available to all Workspace customers and users with personal Google accounts. So, available to everybody. Google Keep integration with Assistant is available to all Google Workspace users. So, if you're using Google Assistant with your Workspace device, you can set Google Keep as the default provider for your notes and lists. You can also ask Assistant to create a new list, add or delete items from an existing list, or read back all the items that are on a list to you. Yeah.
I'm always happy to see anything from Workspace being improved upon in Assistant. It's been a gripe that I've had for years since they came out, is so many things where it goes I'm sorry, you can't do this with this type of an account. You need a regular Gmail account in order to make this work. And I'm just like, I haven't used a regular Gmail account as my primary account in a decade more. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I like working in the Workspace environment because of all the better the extra things it gives me.
Right.
Not to mention no ads or things like that. So, I really wish that my Google Smart Home would be able to tap into more of my services, and it's getting there little bit by little bit. But
okay, so you mentioned the no ads part, but that's part of some. I would think part of some reason why it doesn't have that full feature parity is because we can't show ads. We can't have this component in here.
yeah, but it took them how long to give me
different terms of
access to read
service.
my? It took them how long to give me access to read my calendar in Workspace?
Yeah, I know.
And now, like, keep.
It's a
Not that
lot.
I'm not appreciative. It's just like, I can't use a Nest thermostat either with it. I mean,
Right,
that may
but
change. I got rid of my Nest
but
thermostat after a
remember,
while,
it's
but
you're coming at it from like, this is just me in a workspace as a user with my own data, but this is actually
no, for sure.
it's
I get it.
companies.
That being
It's
said,
the company's information that you now have to say you give these end users that are part of this organization the ability to say, I want to have this information now going to Google to make it faster and easier for me to do these things, but maybe my company doesn't want this, private information being shared with Google in a
make
way
it a toggle.
like that.
Make it an option.
Yeah.
Set it as default off, like we were just saying before.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. 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 Well, and I think that's what they did with Assistant, right? So it was Assistant got rolled out to Workspace. It was off by default. You had to enable it, and you actually had to enable a couple different things to actually get things working. It was actually not that easy of a process to enable Assistant in the Workspace environment. It was a couple different places you had to go to get it working.
And then the same thing with Bard.
Yeah.
Similar challenges, I think.
Yeah, exactly. All right, rollout pace for this one starts the 9th of August. Gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility, both scheduled and rep release domains, available to all Workspace customers. All right, 4 more to go, and then you'll do some talking, Jesse.
Moving along.
All right, e-signatures. We talked about this the other week. It's going to be available for Google Docs and Drive. It's launching in an open beta for Workspace individual subscribers as well as Workspace customers. And this has been, in alpha since June of last year. I'd never even heard about this. I don't know. I forgot about it. I guess I did hear about it. It was announced, I guess. But I know, just one of those things where they talked about it coming out, but then you never really knew where to sign up for it or how to get access to it. So yeah, they mentioned it, but I didn't really know anyone using it or testing it. But pretty interesting feature, very useful feature.
Hell yeah.
We'll see how this actually gets implemented and how it turns out throughout this kind of sign up for the beta and more customers getting access to it and giving Google feedback. But pretty cool. Even a lot of things to look at here. They've come out with I think a pretty decent number of features right off the bat to allow you to start leveraging this instead of any third-party application like DocuSign or PandaDoc or what else is out there, but there's a few others, I'm sure.
Sign Now is the one that I use.
Yeah. So a few more updates. So coming later this year, audit trail, multi-signer, non-Gmail users, and initiating an e-signature on PDF. So I think those are the main things that you really need to have for this product to kind of catch adoption with users. So I think still a few more things to be ironed out from a functionality feature perspective, but once those things are going to be available, make it pretty easy. But good for organizations that are working with other Google domains and just kind of individual signers on it. But what document doesn't have more than one signature really on it? I mean, it's very rare that you only have one signer on a doc, so I don't know.
Well, for a long time, I was using the DocuSign free edition plugin just to sign. Like, they would send me a document for me to sign. I would sign it and send it back. Then they would use whatever their tool was to sign it on their end. Thankfully, systems have have progressed and matured over time, so that it's more of a live document, so that it's, I sign, then they sign, then they sign, then I sign, whichever it is, as opposed to, download, upload kind of a thing. But yeah, it's certainly something that I've done in the past, and a feature that I've always appreciated on the Mac is the ability to just throw my signature on any PDF that comes through. So,
Yep. I'm just looking
the availability is interesting on this.
I know. Yeah. That's actually what I was looking at right now. And also like the new custom email layouts in Gmail with the reference.
Yep.
I'm just trying to find that in the previous announcement that was made.
There's a link back in June.
Yeah.
Helping small businesses manage their time and connect with their customers.
That was the one.
It's interesting how some of these, or a lot of these, are coming first to individual, trying to make that more useful, and then once it's kind of like a beta test, It's like they have beta on the Workspace side, but if they really want a smaller segment that's just using it, kind of, I don't want to say low impact per se, but not at scale, seems like a good way to do it. You muted yourself, sir.
No, I know. I was trying to avoid some of the clinking of the of the refill of the whiskey there.
Yeah, I heard it open.
Yeah, no, that's when I heard the opening, I figured I'd mute it. But pour a little Redbreast, cast strength Irish whiskey.
Very nice. I unfortunately don't have anything around me, and I've been nursing this poor single bottle of seltzer or can of seltzer for the last 3 hours. So let's go. I'm getting thirsty.
Oh my god! All right. Where do we leave off? Rollout for this one.
Availability.
Workspace. Yeah, availability. Here we go. Workspace individual users. This starts the 8th of August. Gradual rollout 15 days for visibility. Starting on the 8th of August. Workspace customers, they'll start accepting beta applications and allow listing customers over the next several weeks. So sign up for that with the link that we will include. There's a form for it. Email layouts v2 and signature pre-GA test application.
Got it.
All right, gallery view for Zoom interoperability on Google Meet hardware.
Yay!
Pretty straightforward in terms of what this is. Gallery view. So Zoom interrupt calls only supported Zoom speaker view before. So now they're going to be able to support gallery view. Make it a little bit better to use the screen real estate there and allow more participants to be seen on the screen at the same time. There is not going to be a way to toggle between speaker view and gallery view at this time. Gallery view has replaced speaker view as the default layout for Zoom calls. So this really is a substantial change to that. So it is going to be gallery view only. And that probably makes sense, honestly.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know. Yes and no. I don't know. I've had some people in previous orgs where they were so particular about, how they wanted to see participants. Like, oh, well, I've got to see everyone in this one view, and I've got to see, myself in the presentation in this other one. It's like, really? Is it really that? I don't know. I don't know. I guess. Saying that, well, all right, I'm going to skip the comment I was just going to make. We got a good next topic. It was a topic actually about the acquisition that Google made that actually started Google Meet and everything, but that was a Swedish company way back when. All right. Next, being able to add annotations to your presentations in Google Slides. So, introduction to a feature here. It's going to allow you to highlight or emphasize key content while you present in Google Slides. Also, be like a new pen tool where you can circle, underline, draw, and draw connections or make quick notes directly on your presentation. So, nice little kind of Jamboard functionality essentially in here, right? So, rollout for this one is going to be split between wrap release and schedule release domains. Wrap release domains, we'll have started to see this already rolling out on the 10th of August on a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility there. Schedule release domains, won't be seeing this for about another week, starting the 23rd of August. Also, a gradual rollout up to 15 days for visibility on that one. And it'll be available to every Workspace customer and users with personal Google accounts. And then finally, some functionality that I thought I talked about before, but here it is again. Be able to set context-aware access policies for first and third-party applications to access Workspace APIs. So with this new context-aware access, you can set different access levels to Workspace applications based on a user's identity, as we know. But this is now going to extend it here into first and third-party application APIs. So this little image there of what you can do with the access policies, and feature for this feature here is available now to all of those that have context-aware access, which is going to be Enterprise Standard plus Education Standard and Plus, as well as Cloud Day Premium customers. And that wraps up the updates for the week. I did say that we had an update on Drive for Desktop, which version 79 is out there now. We typically see Drive for Desktop updates published like a week or two after they're actually made. So we're just seeing now the July 31st an update, which 2 weeks ago almost, just showing up on the website. But big update for this one is that this is going to be version 79. Drive for Desktop client, right? Last release that is going to be supported on Windows 8, 8.1, Windows Server 2012, and all 32-bit versions of Windows. So if you need to run a release after this, you're going to have to upgrade to Windows 10 or 64-bit or higher.
Which you really should have done by now anyway.
Yeah. But then it goes on to say, well, users of unsupported versions of Windows can still access Drive through a supported browser, which, of course, useful, but not ideal if you're having to sync data to a server, for example. Really not the way to go about it. But if you have to, you can still access it through the browser on that device. But if you want the desktop client, you're going to have to upgrade. And then finally, Chrome version 1.16, a lot of release notes to talk about on our next episode. And with that, I will hand it over to Jesse to talk about the plethora of news updates, all four that you have to talk about compared to my, 16 that I just talked about.
16, right. So take a load off, Steve. Lean back in the chair, relax, and let me carry it through the end. Folks, thanks for hanging on. I promise to be quick. This is a rather in-depth article from Chrome Unboxed. Google says it will take nearly a year to fully decouple Chrome, the browser, from Chrome OS, the operating system. This is something that we've talked about in the past as being in the works, in the plans. So a bunch more details here about what's happening and why. Apparently it's a little bit more complicated than we thought it was going to be, or maybe it's exactly as complicated as we thought it was going to be. Depends. Essentially, there was a developer-focused video about this entire transition, which is linked in the article below, and they have the full timeline posted here. So if you're interested in that, I imagine it's a relatively smallish subset of folks. So go and check that out. The good thing to know is that it is coming, and if you are those folks that have the older devices that are not getting security updates anymore, or soon won't be getting security updates anymore, it is likely that you will be able to still get browser security updates via this process. Next up, we have an article that is definitely leading into Google Next here. It is titled, How We're Protecting Your Google Workspace Data in the Era of Generative AI. This is on the Google Workspace blog. And this is, kind of shots fired at the early version of ChatGPT and some of the other systems that are out there. If you're paying for ChatGPT, then you don't have a lot of these concerns, but a lot of the things that is covered here is that your data is your data, it stays in Workspace, your privacy is protected, and your content is not used for ads targeting. Ads targeting, of course, being a huge concern for any time Google is releasing a product, because that is Google's bread and butter, as it is Facebook and some other companies out there. But with ChatGPT, one of the things that it's doing on the free version is retraining and learning based on your information. And Google is basically saying here's what we're not doing and how we're not doing it. So if you'd like to learn all about that, go and check out that article. The next one is an article that kind of goes over my head here. I didn't even think this is possible. I don't know how this is possible. Google is enhancing TLS security starting with Chrome 1.16, which is rolling out now, as we mentioned before. Google adds quantum-resistant encryption? What? Apparently. Go ahead, Steve.
Well, I was just going to say, yeah, Chrome's going to be supporting, X25519 Kyber 768, which you click into that and like, what is X25519 Kyber 68 draft 00? I don't know. Even reading it, I'm like, what is it? I don't know. There's so many acronyms. There's so many things. There's like, instantiate draft IETF TLS hybrid design 06 with X25519, which is RFC 7748. And it's just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, well,
why would to talk about this?
To put a little context here, if you read more of the article, Kyber was chosen by the U.S. Department of Commerce's National Institute of Standards and Technology, otherwise known as NIST, and is chosen as the candidate for general encryption in a bid to tackle future cyber attacks posed by the advent of quantum computing. It is roughly the security equivalent of AES 192. The encryption algorithm has already been adopted by Cloudflare, AWS, and IBM, so it is somewhat of an industry standard here. And the thing that's crazy here is I know that Google's been doing a lot of research into quantum computing and whatever the hell that means, and I know that IBM and others have been doing a lot of research at AWS as well into this, and the fact that we don't even really have quantum computing yet, but, I mean, now that you can have, I guess you can have resistant encryption to whatever version of it we have now, but I don't know, I guess I'd go and Google more about quantum computing, because to me, I mean, we've heard the stories for years about how, your super duper secure password that you have today isn't going to last 5 seconds against a quantum computer, and yet here we are rolling out quantum resistant encryption. So I'm sure there's a lot of really, really complicated math and technology that goes into this, of which I am nowhere even near to beginning to understand. So if you are one of those folks who is interested in that and is able to understand those things, hit the link down below. Just let me know
what to choose from the drop-down of encryption methods. Just tell me which one it is. Just which one do I choose? Like, just give me the code.
Yeah, Steve, I don't think you and I are really. I don't think you and I are the ones that are really at risk of quantum entanglement. I mean, quantum hacking, or whatever the hell it's going to be called when somebody comes after our data with a quantum computer. Perhaps, maybe some of our clients will be SpaceX or something. Who knows?
Enterprise policies. So it's good right Lord. There you go.
There you go. That's how to do it.
Here's the link to the Chrome announcement. Post quantum key agreement enabled. That is a flag in Chrome that you'll be able to leverage for this.
All right, last article we got here, and then I'll let y'all go, is 10 tips on how to learn the new way to cloud at Google Cloud Next 2023. And this is an article on the Google Cloud blog, of course, and talking about some of the things that are going to be available at Next. So, for example, you're going to be able to do a no-cost generative AI skill badge, and you can pick up limited edition swag. If there's any way to get my attention, it's definitely limited edition swag, so I will be checking that out. Also because I'm really curious about what they got going on here, and I mean, sure, I'll get a skill badge. Why not? There are others here where you can add training workshops to your agenda. You can also come by the Learning and Certification booth in the Innovators Hive, where I'll be hanging out quite a bit. And continuing on that same vein, you can unlock great learning benefits with Innovators Plus, which is something that comes with the Champion Innovators program, which I'm a member of, but you can buy, I think it's $300 a year for the Innovators Plus, which includes access to Google Cloud Skills Boost, $500 in Google Cloud credits, so it basically pays for itself if you're a cloud user, and you get 500 additional credits when you get Google Cloud certified, so some good perks there in doing that. Then they're having some other fun things, such as the 2023 Google Cloud Fly Cup Challenge, which is Google's collaboration with the DRL, the Drone Racing League, which is exactly what it sounds like. And you can predict the drone racing results using DRL data, provide tips to the pilots, and help them enhance their season performance. So that should be pretty fun to watch. You can also renew your Associate Cloud Engineer certification, Completely Cloud Quizathon in the Persona areas. No idea where those are going to be, but we'll definitely check them out. Oh, apparently the innovative side. Okay. 2 more here. Join a Cloud Learning Breakout Session and learn the latest. 3 more. And learn the latest and make new connections at the Community Hub and live it up at the Champions and Certified Lounge, which, again, is one of the places that I will be hanging out quite a bit. So definitely come by and check that out. And gotta see if we can get Steve into that program, too. He's in all the other ones, but missed this one.
I don't know why that didn't happen. That baffles me.
Maybe you're already at GDE. I don't know. And that's it. So I apologize. I have a bit of a cold coming on or developing, as you can tell from the sound of my voice getting worse and worse as the episode went on. So definitely going to hang this up here. That's all for this week. Send us your questions and comments on Twitter or on our website or in the comments down below. If you're over on the YouTube side, hit the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up, 5-star reviews. And if you're going to be at Google Next, we look forward to seeing you there. Have a great week, everyone, and we'll see you next time on Workspace Recap.